welcome back to the Astro Experience, okay? So, first and foremost, this video might be a little bit of a rant because, of course I'm an astrologer and you feel me? And I see a lot on the internet, whenever I talk about astrology, either on my TikTok lives or even on Instagram or certain comments I get, people saying that astrology is not real. And honestly, I can genuinely understand why people say that. But then again, at the same time, I can understand, but it's bullshit, okay? And I'm going to tell you why. First and foremost, as within, so without, and that's a very generic spiritual term that people throw around a lot, but it's true, as within, so without, as above, so below. The planets are actual living, sentient, conscious beings, bro. Just because you don't see them with arms and legs, don't mean that they're not aware. Doesn't mean that they don't have a fucking consciousness, okay? And I always give this example right here, bro. You take a snake, for example, right? They have thermal sight. So what that means is basically they can sense the heat signature off of another being, and that's how they look to a snake, right? So how we look to a snake is basically a fucking pool of light, of thermal infrared heat light, whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? So toward our chest and our heart, it may be a little bit more red because there's more heat here, okay? Toward our legs, it may be a little bit more blue. You feel me? Now, I encourage y'all, look up a fucking chart, thermal sight for snakes. You feel me? I'm not gonna show it on the camera, but whenever they see objects that hold a lot of heat, it shows up as red, orange, and yellow, okay? So let's say they look at us. They don't see our physical features. They don't see a fucking nose, a mouth, and eyes, and they don't see a chest and everything else. They see heat, okay? They see a heat signature. If you take a fucking fly, for example, right? They only see in like 2D or some shit. So they don't see the totality of what we are. They see us based off of their own limited perspective, based off of the vessel that they have. You feel me? Same thing with the fucking planets. Just because the planets look like a ball of light to us doesn't necessarily mean that that's exactly what they are. Of course, that's what they are from a certain perspective, based off of where we are and how we see shit in our perspective. But that's not the totality of what they are. That's just one small aspect of them, okay? Because when it comes to us, we can only see 1% of the visible light spectrum. So it's like, how the fuck do you know exactly what a planet is with your physical eyes? You have to tap into the consciousness of that planet. And a lot of people, they look at trees, they look at rocks, they look at planets as stationary, immovable, non-sentient objects, okay? Obviously planets, they rotate and they move and shit, but a lot of people look at planets like they just stay in the sky and they don't do anything. Well, that's far from the truth, bro. Like, even just look at the sun. The sun gives us life. Without the sun, we wouldn't even fucking be here. So it's not far off to say that, because the sun is a star, right? Stars are light. Stars are information. Stars govern what we see on Earth. You feel me? So it's not far off to say that if the sun aligned with a certain constellation, a constellation is a group of stars, if this star aligns with another group of stars, then that influences how we feel, think, and behave. Because this sun gives us life. If something gives you life, it influences how you fucking act. Your mother gave you life. You have her DNA inside of you. You experience a lot of ancestral patterns based off of your family, based off of your mother and your father who gave you life. If the sun gives you life, then obviously it's going to dictate how you act on some level, okay? Okay? I hope that makes sense. And every single planet that you see is a certain aspect of our sun, of our star. You feel me? So that's exactly why the planets represent different mental and emotional processes that we go through, okay? So it gets very deep, honestly. It gets very deep, but you know, we're not all just one sign. And that's something that I also wanted to touch on, because a lot of people, you know, with pop astrology, they look at it as, oh, I'm a Scorpio, so I'm toxic. Oh, I'm a Gemini, so I'm a liar. It's like, bro, it's so much deeper than that, genuinely. And I really hope people see that it's so much more deeper than that, because yeah, you can say that your sun is in Scorpio, but whenever you were born, the sun lined up to the constellation of Scorpio, of course, but all of the other planets also lined up to a specific constellation. The sun represents your actions, it represents your vitality, your recognition, how you're recognized, all right? The moon represents your emotions, your inner world, your comfort, all right? So even understanding your moon will help you look at astrology in a different light. So I encourage everybody to go online, right? And grab a birth chart, you know? All you need is your date of birth, time of birth, and place of birth, okay? And then you will see that you'll see your moon sign, and look up your moon sign. I promise you, that shit is gonna resonate a lot more, maybe a lot more than your sun sign, okay? So, and then that's also just one small aspect of your chart. You have a sun, you have a moon, you have Mercury, you have Mars, Venus, okay? So all of these different planets represent different aspects of your consciousness. So how does all of the different aspects of your consciousness interact with each other, okay? So I think I'm gonna leave it at that. So yeah, we're not just one sun. We're not just one sign. We are a conglomeration of all of the different signs. So I'm an Aries, I'm a Pisces, I'm a Taurus, I'm a fucking Gemini. I'm all of those things in one. But my birth chart shows me how all of those energies interact with each other and flow through me as a channel, being this vessel, okay? So I most definitely encourage everybody to look into their chart, all right? Understanding your chart more, birth for confirmation, it helps you understand the patterns that you go through in life. It helps you understand the seasons that you go through. It helps you understand the different strengths and weaknesses that you have, how you relate to other people, how you emotionally process your emotions, how you mentally process information, you know, your true desires, your true passions, different shadow aspects of yourself that you may have. So starting out, I most definitely encourage you to go to a very respected reader, a very respected astrologer, so you can understand, okay, because once you get your chart read, it's like, bro, how did you know that? Because your chart is like a blueprint. Your chart is like a what do you call that? Fingerprint. It's like your soul's fingerprint, okay? Everybody has a unique fingerprint. Everybody has a unique birth chart. And once you know how to read your birth chart, you have the keys to your fucking life in your hands, bro. So, with that being said, I offer astrology readings with thestars.net. I just released my website, okay? All of my astrology services are on there. I offer astrology readings. I offer birth chart magic, okay? I offer I just released an astrology course as well. 5 hours of all-encompassing astrological information, okay? So most definitely go check that out as well. I offer a mentorship program as well, you know? It could be astrology based or even just generally based, all right? I do tarot readings, I do spell work, I do magic, okay? I do channeled messages. I can tap into your Akashic records, okay? I do timeline readings as well. I can see what trajectory you're on in your life, and I can let you know any tweaks that you need to make in order to stay on an optimal timeline, okay? So I have a lot of services. I offer a lot. I have free ebooks as well, okay? Um on my website as well. I do music. I make affirmation music. I do meditation music. I have free meditations on my Spotify, okay? So I offer a lot. Everything is in my bio, most definitely. And if you still think astrology doesn't have any merit, then this isn't the place for you. Truly.